Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. You see, what is happening in Kenya now calls for concern. And the most pathetic thing here, AU, which is African Union, is practically turning deaf ears and blind eyes to what's happening in Kenya. If the United Nations has actually raised eyebrow at what the government of Kenya is doing, why is it that African Union has remained mute with regards to that? It's a simple thing. Most of the leaders in Africa, they have the same mindset: to dominate, to oppress, and to suppress. So that is what they love doing. So if one of them is doing that thing, they don't see anything wrong with regards to that. Should the military take over in Kenya, then they will come out backing as dog who has rabies. But the truth be told, that the way African leaders are behaving, we will turn the tides of Africa in no distance time. I mean the African youth. Now, how will the president of a nation ask his own killing machine to go out and attack his own people? Why? Because they are protesting against a law which they know, when it's fully implemented, is going to impoverish the people of Kenya. More bills, no infrastructure, more bills, no industry, more bills, no employment, more bills. The cost of living is getting higher by the day. What kind of president do we have in Africa? Look here. This heinous crime is not just limited to Kenya alone. It cuts across all strata of the nations in Africa, where our leaders will wake up any morning, begin to embrace the policy of IMF. Tax increase is not just limited to Kenya alone. And probably this is going to be the new Arab Spring, which is going to technically engulf the entire African nation. It is not nip in the bud. And by doing that, it's not by coming with arms and ammunition against your people. The people who voted Ruto in are the same ones he's killing now. It's going to be an aberration for Ruto to ever think that he's going to come out to be the president for the second time. No Kenya will stand by you, because you are not different from Idi Amin of Uganda. Your act and action shows that you are a man without pity. I was listening to Al Jazeera. It said that they saw a young Kenya with the pride of the nation, which is the national flag, fixed to his hand with a bullet on his forehead. It's one of the many evils that's happening in Kenya. As I speak to you today, over 30 Kenyans have been massacred. Much more than that, because in African country, whenever we are being told that 30 persons have been killed by the government, multiply by 10. So probably over 300 persons have been killed in Kenya as a result of the wickedness of most of our legislature. Ruto is a wicked man, a very wicked president, and his term is just going to be one term. And William Ruto will leave the office with shame and with his eyes closed. That man is a wicked man sent to destroy Kenya from the pit of hell. Kenyans are crying, Kenyans are wailing that this pains and this hunger is much in the land. And what did William Ruto actually did? He sent forth his killing machines to go on the streets, begin to kill Kenyans. Why is it the police force in Africa do not have common sense? Why is it that the police force in Africa has colonial mentality? Why is it that the police force in Africa behave the same way? When you are sent by the executive to quash protests, you go there to kill the people. Mind you, the policy the government is making will affect you and affect your children. Whatever the people are protesting against is for your good, the good of your children, the good of your unborn children. So the police force and the military in Africa should understand this common reality, that whenever the youth, whenever the people, whenever the masses are protesting against obnoxious and satanic policy of our government, it simply means we are protesting so that you, your children, your wife, and your children yet unborn should have a happy life. So guys, let the police force in Africa, let the military in Africa begin to have common sense, because a day will come, just the way it happened in France. Your guns, your pistol will no longer be useful, because the heart of the ordinary man and women will be completely made up in Africa. We are not going back and will not relent when that day shall come. Freedom, freedom, freedom must be achieved in Kenya. And William Ruto, stop this nonsense. I'm telling you, if AU cannot tell you, we African youth, we are telling you, William Ruto, stop this nonsense. Enough is enough. I, with the legislature, constantly allow the executive to play upon their psyche. The same thing is playing out in Nigeria and other African countries, where policies and laws are passed just within 5 days. They do not understand the anguish, the pain, the hunger, the bitterness in the heart of the people because they are hungry. That language is not being understood by the rich in our society. That language is not being understood by the politicians in our country. That language is not being understood by those who make laws and those who execute laws in our land. As long as they are okay, they do not care what the common man or woman is going through in our land. This will call for a concerted effort from our African youth all across every country in Africa to have a body, apart from the useless body that has been set up by our government. Let's begin to have a body. Let's begin to have a forum. Let's begin to talk the talk and do the do. The time has come for the youth to begin to take over the affairs of things in Africa. Those who are over 50 years in Africa are not qualified to lead us to the promised land. There are people with evil and satanic hearts and tendencies in Africa. The time to stop that nonsense is now. My heart goes for the people of Kenya, for the youth of Kenya who have been suppressed and oppressed by this wicked regime. That please take heart. This also will pass again. And not that I'll be going live tomorrow to discuss about this in-depthly. And I will appreciate if I have my friends, my lovers from Kenya. Just drop me a message if you want to be in my live program, so I will get through to you, and then we will know how best we are going to go about this. And I will love if you can, in the course of the live program tomorrow, let's have pictorial evidence on what happened and how it happened and what is really happening currently in Kenya, so that the world will know. We need to talk the talk so that the world will hear us.